Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, January 11th, and I'm coming from you at you from an undisclosed location. We're all having to go into hiding. My name is Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me today is Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple. We're going to discuss a couple of hot spots in the markets for today to help you potentially find some opportunities that you like. Before I jump into this, it is important for me to share this disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone, that any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And lastly, please, this is an educational session. Understand that. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. And I know I'm just going to tee this up quickly today. We're seeing the story of the day is the dollar really strong. We're seeing dollar strong across the board. It's rallying everywhere. So we're going to take a look at, we could take a peek at over at the euro US dollar first, but then on top of the dollar being strong, the Canadian dollar is weak. So you're seeing an amplified effect in that market. So Brian, you want to just kind of kick us off here and run through what we're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, the dollar definitely been very, very strong. You can see across the board versus the euro, the pound, even versus the Aussie, down quite a larger amount in the last 24 hours, especially, for being a Monday morning. The big outlier, though, is definitely the dollar CAD this morning. And again, I've been looking at the news, and really all the news we've seen this morning has been talking about, taking hits and the dollar, extends the recovery, strong dollar. So all the news is talking about is strong dollar, strong dollar, strong dollar, strong dollar. Now, there hasn't been a whole lot out there that really explains really where the move is coming from. The one bit of information I did find from early this morning would be this, that the market is expecting another stimulus plan later on today. They're talking about, the intensified conflict between Beijing and the U.S. Because Trump banned some more Chinese companies. But they were talking about that Biden made comments about the December stimulus package was just a down payment, that this week on Thursday, there'll be $1 trillion package coming out on Thursday. So that's pretty interesting. That, again, we're seeing, hey, listen, we're coming out with more stimulus. We knew that was coming. That was promised. There was, supposed to be $2,000 if, if Georgia switched. He said, hey, if we get Georgia, you can't stop it. Everybody's getting 2,000. So that's interesting. We knew it was coming as soon as Thursday is pretty interesting. So that's kind of the major thing that we've seen. And again, you mentioned the euro dollar, and it's been pushing down, and it's gotten a little bit of a pullback in the overnight. It is bouncing off a little bit nicer of a level now, down here at 21.46. And it's interesting where it's pushed down to. It's not showing on some of the higher time frames, but on the lower time frames, it is an area that we are seeing a potential bounce. Now, with all the news talking about down, dollar strength, dollar strength, dollar strength, dollar strength, on a Monday morning, that tends to be how the retail traders like, okay, I need to get, long the dollar today. That tends to be where we see reversals. So there probably is some type of a potential reversal here, depending on how the open goes. But I would imagine at this point, it's been nothing but dollar strength in the overnight, and there's nothing. It's not like they said, hey, we're raising interest rates in June. It's not like there's been any type of message that has been necessarily a strong dollar move. And again, for the last the dollar trends in one direction on Monday and then tends to retrace through the rest of the week. So that's a potential there for the euro.
Interesting. Let me just flip this over real quickly.
Oh, okay, sure.
Let's just for 1 second. I thought, if you're looking for opportunities in that euro US dollar, I just brought up the daily binaries. Again, if you're, if there's some binaries that are right here at the money that, for today, you see this thing trending lower, you can certainly go short. But if you're looking for a bounce at some point, it's also a place where you could change your mind, right? So you're allowed to do that. You don't have to wait until the end to see what happens with the binary options. You're allowed to take an opinion one way and then change your mind and go the exact opposite way. So you can trade in and out of these. Binaries might be a good way to play it. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, the amplified effect.
Yeah, dollar CAD, and this is really a CAD story. It's kind of a combination of the two. There's a bit of dollar in here, but there's a bit of CAD as well. Not that we can trade CAD, the CAD itself, but you can see that even on the CAD yen, you can see a major move down in the last hour. That's quite a large bit of movement. But in the dollar CAD, it's those two factors together, and there's a couple levels. Now, we are moving out of the middle of that curve area, which again would change our mindset to, hey, look, we're looking for bearish trades. there is two kind of small levels up here, and both of them they're all right. I would rate them maybe as like a B. I wouldn't rate them as an A plus turnaround area, but it is on an hourly chart. And again, very strong move up, no wicks on these candles whatsoever. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me try to stretch it just a little bit more for you guys. But you can see this one candle, there's no wicks whatsoever on there. So yeah, that's a very strong move in one direction. It's typically an emotional response. Again, stepping in Monday morning, looking for a reversal from there. It could come in at 128.48. And again, 9:30, 10 o'clock is one of the most popular reversal times. But this much movement before the U.S. market gets open with no real news beyond there's a $1 trillion package coming on Thursday. It's kind of like, oh, is there going to raise the price so they can short this for a higher price? And that's what I'm wondering. Again, having a bit of a CAD retracement / dollar retracement rollover back on this one.
Right. Let's just flip this around here again. I'm sticking with the binary options today. I think it and the nice thing here about the CAD is you can see all the different. I'm trying to stretch this out so you can see them all the different strikes that you got to potentially play this.
Yeah, it's so much. It's a lot of movement in a very short period of time, and again, those tend to be retracement opportunities.
I mean, when you take a look at this from just a little earlier this morning, 1, 2, 3 on its way to a fourth strike in the USCAD. This thing turns and moves. It can come right back down through these on that retracement. So definitely something to keep an eye on. US dollar CAD binary options could be an interesting way to play that. I know that this is having an impact on gold. And I know that that's actually been a hot story lately. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I can switch over to gold real quick. So yeah, gold, we talked about it last week. If we could get price back up into the 1859 area to get a sell in, and you can see it not only sold and dropped very, very fast, but it gave us a new level of selling. And in the overnight, about 4 or 5 hours ago, we started kind of, and again, where we opened on Sunday, we based and we were pushing back down. Now, this kind of goes into the same thing. When you have strong dollar, gold tends to push down. When we have weak dollar, gold tends to go back up again. So it's not surprising that we're seeing this drop. It is actually coming into a level, and again, this kind of goes with the whole story about having a reversal at 10 o'clock. We've had the end of the European session has been nothing but dollar strength. Again, gold weakness. Now that the U.S. trader is coming in, we have a chance to react to that. And again, that would be the ideal time for a rollover, exactly where we are with gold right now. So, euro dollar kind of, coincides with it. The dollar CAD coincides with the reversal. Gold is also a bit of a reversal. I would say this week, especially if that $1 trillion package comes out on Thursday, that would be an option for us to go long again for gold. But right now, it's really about finding the correct basing. And again, we do have a little bit more room to run down on the larger time frames, down to the 1818 area. But for today, the way it looks right now, it looks like getting established into, again, an area where we could base and then again back to the top side. Right. If we have that, all of a sudden, the dollar, the wind gets taken out of the sails of the dollar.
Right. And that 1830 level, I'm just going to flip this back over to the Nadex chart. You'd identify some levels. Even on Friday, we had that 1860 level, and
the pullback into that level short.
Yeah. And it just started to shorten, and you're like, listen, this thing's going to probably be weak, but take a look at it for a Sunday night setup for a bounce. And we've had this 1830-ish level. I mean, this goes back a ways.
That was a target for a bunch of different things. Yeah,
I mean, it was rather interesting, and it actually hit down here. We did see a rally off of that level. So there were. I mean, it was kind of the story that you were saying. Pay attention to on Sunday night. It come back down to this 1830, and it is basing in here. We're kind of see it's come back in here again. If the dollar continues to get hammered, it could have fall through this level. Yes.
Yeah, and it'll base in that level if it does. You can see actually in your chart there that it's been not only a bouncing level target, but then when it blew through, it came back up in base and gave us a confirmation entry to go long. And now it's coming back down. And again, if we see that same level of basing in that level, look for a drop below pullback, and that's where our level of risk is for a short. So it's one of those levels. It's an area of interest that the market is definitely focused and centered around. And again, those are the ones that provide longs and shorts. So you got to make sure that you're nimble and look to see how prices, if it bases, again, that typically is a telltale sign that we're going to break. And then what you do is you use that for your level of risk. So a number of different ways to play that one. It's an interesting level.
So yeah, gold is definitely a hot spot. Keep an eye on it. And by the way, these are the weekly binary options. These go out until Friday of this week.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I brought that up is because it is going to be a story this week, and you will see some opportunity to potentially see some volatility in the gold markets, and there's a way to do that trading the binary options. Again, you don't have to wait until the end to see what happens. You can always trade out of your position to either limit losses or lock in profits. So interesting way to take a peek at it. All right. I know we wanted to keep it tight this morning because we're on a tight schedule. Is there something else that you'd like to just chit chat about before we give it a wrap today?
I know that everybody likes to see some of the fancier indicators. I'm very simple with things. Again, I just wanted to show people also on the dollar CAD real quick. Again, I know you guys love this kind of stuff. Here's your Fibonacci retracement. The level that we're at right now, where you're seeing kind of a rollover, also happens to be that 61.8. So again, it's always nice to know how multiple strategies are functioning and where they're looking at different levels at. But again, just some of you guys that like the little fancier tools and things, the 61.8 is exactly where we're seeing this rollover right now in the dollar CAD. So again, worth a little bit more of a look, especially in 20 minutes when the open kicks in, to see if this level is going to hold or if this is going to be the rollover. And then again, profit targets for this one are coming back down into this, the 127 kind of 80-ish range is probably the safe area to get out. So there's a lot of stuff moving. Again, it's Monday morning. There's no real news today except at 9:30 with the open. We also have the Canadian Business Outlook Survey. So again, all this movement in the CAD could also be preparing for this Business Outlook Survey. So again, news release, and that's the only one we got today. So after that, it'll be nothing but news headlines. So.
And again, with Nadex products, limited risk, limited reward, or defined risk, defined reward. Let's do it that way, so that if something totally shocking were to happen, where your parameters are. All right, so there it is today. Take a look at the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar. The dollar has been really strong. The Canadian dollar has been weak. You're seeing an amplified movement and some volatility in that market, and then the strength in the U.S. dollar impacting gold. And so keep an eye on that for the week. Brian and I will be back again tomorrow morning. Hopefully, if I can pull this off another day, because I'm on the road. But if you need help or got any questions for Nadex, please, customer service at nadex.com. You can email us. Brian, his email address down below, support@keeptradingsimple.com. I'd also like to point out that Trustpilot link. It would be terrific if you could take a few minutes and give us a review on Trustpilot. You go to trustpilot.com/review/nadex.com, and we would greatly appreciate your feedback and your review. With that, you've got some great highlights to check out in the markets today. Also, I did chat out a link for 1 week from today. We're doing another education summit. New year, new you, better trader. Take a look, please register for that event. It's going to be some great content. It's next Tuesday. It's a 6-hour all-day event. It is totally free, and everyone is welcome to join. Share it with your friends and family. With that, want to wish everyone good luck in the markets today. We'll catch you tomorrow morning. Thanks.